Right now at noon, Kansans will soon see some savings on their grocery bill.
And it's a bit on the windy side, and it is going to be mild at least one more day before cold air settles in. Got to look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, how you can still enjoy the great outdoors in the cold winter months.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A crash on I-44 leaves diesel fuel all over the roadway late yesterday evening. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. A tractor trailer struck a barrier on the east side of the overpass at exit 6, then traveled across the bridge, spilling fuel and crashing off the right side of the road. Firefighters worked quickly to plug the fuel leak. Absorbent materials were laid as diesel fuel is very slick. Now, traffic was diverted for a short time and the driver was not injured and remained on the scene. One man has been transported to the hospital after a plane crash south of Parsons, Kansas. The pilot of a plane was transported to Kansas City from Labette County Health. 26-year-old Michael Ribberty was landing on an airstrip on private property when he clipped electric lines and nosed into the ground. Ribberty was transported to the hospital with critical injuries. A GoFundMe has been created for his family, which include his wife and young child. If you'd like to donate, you can find the link for it on KOAMnewsnow.com. Authorities in Miami, Oklahoma have released information regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred Friday night. According to authorities, 2 separate 911 calls came in at around 4 p.m. Reports of an armed male subject under the influence attempting to break into an apartment at a complex on C Street. According to authorities, the subject, Jason Wilkins, was carrying a weapon. Officers provided commands for Wilkins to drop his weapons, but Wilkinson did not comply and rushed towards one of the officers. Then shots were fired and Wilkins was injured and transported to the emergency room of Integris Hospital and later succumbed to his injuries. The officer involved in the shooting remains on administrative leave as the investigation continues. Now let's head over to Chris Warner for first weather.
Yeah, we've got a pretty decent day, at least temperature-wise. Cloudy skies, though, some isolated showers. Look, from this morning, our camera downtown Pittsburgh, we had just a few clouds to start the day. Nice to see the sunshine. It's been several days since we've really seen some good sunshine out there. We had the same view from MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline this morning as well. Just a few of those clouds out there. But, of course, now we're getting cloudier, and we do have some rain showers rolling in the area, although those are isolated. Started yesterday at 38, so well above normal, and made it up to 55. Also well above normal, but not quite record status on those. However, that is something that could be coming soon. We'll talk about that in the full forecast here in a few minutes. As we've seen the temperature trend, our average high we just showed you is 45, and you can see where that has not been the case. We're looking again upper 50s to right around 64 today, and then we're going to start falling below normal over the next few days. As for the rest of this evening, though, again, some isolated showers. These are low chances out there. Otherwise, cloudy, breezy. West wind still gusting 35, maybe 40 miles an hour. Temperatures gradually falling into the mid-40s by 11. Temperatures will continue to fall overnight, eventually making the upper 30s with these cloudy skies. And then, again, it stays pretty darn chilly, and we're tracking the possibility of a polar vortex, something we haven't talked about since January of 2020. We'll go over all those details with you in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Kansas will be joining 12 other states as part of the IRS Direct File program. Now, the program lets taxpayers file their federal income tax return directly with the IRS for free. Now, the program began last year with 12 participating states. And Kansans will be saving some money at the grocery store in 2025. Grocery sales tax will be ending in the new year. KOAM's Melissa Alexis spoke to some shoppers to see what they had to say.
I mean, groceries is something that you have to buy.
Gabrielle Squires is a Pittsburgh resident who's always looking to save when it comes to groceries.
We have a large family. My husband is currently working 2 jobs. And it's very important that we find the coupons that we can find.
Another Pittsburgh resident, Suzanne John Smith, says every bit of savings helps.
We want to keep prices low so that everyone can afford everything that they need. And every little bit helps.
On January 1st, 2025, grocery state sales tax will be eliminated in the state of Kansas.
A legislation that probably should have happened many, many years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
Legislation to lower the state's grocery sales tax passed in 2022. Originally, sales tax on groceries was 6.5%. A 3-year plan lowered it to 4% in 2023, and it dropped to 2% in 2024.
It's appreciated by especially the poor and the homeless and those that are out of work, but the rest of us also benefit from it.
So we can have that much more to go towards like another bag of chicken or to have just to be able to budget maybe a smaller amount.
According to the Kansas Health Institute, research showed that grocery sales tax are associated with higher rates of food insecurity.
It's one of the few ways that you can equalize and elevate dignity, not to mention physical strength and health.
Squires is looking forward to grocery shopping when January 1st comes around.
Time to restock the cupboards.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Kansas residents will still have county and city grocery taxes. And coming up, a look at the life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. And later, we're making cheesy crab poppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Well, according to experts, staying inside all winter can bring out negative effects like boredom and restlessness. And one of the best ways to combat that is by exploring what nature has to offer. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
Because as the temperature gets colder, we're typically inside a structure more often, and that's where the name cabin fever comes from. It's just that idea of being in a structure. Now, these days it's not necessarily a cabin per se, but it's that just being inside of a structure because it's cold outside, you don't necessarily want to leave at all, and so that's where it kind of comes from.
Although there hasn't been much for snow around the 4 states, the air is getting chillier and chillier. It may sound nice to stay inside all winter, but what comes along with that? Cabin fever is a term used to describe the feelings of isolation and restlessness associated with staying indoors for a long period of time. One of the best ways to prevent cabin fever?
Get outside in nature. It can be as simple as going to a park and sitting on a bench for a really nice, beautiful day. One of those days that we have a little bit more sun, even if you're bundled up, even the cold temperatures can still be enjoyable if you prepare.
The winter season in our area offers a chance to see unique species as well.
We get some species of birds that are only here during the wintertime. Things like dark-eyed juncos, which some people actually call snowbirds, can only be seen in our southern part of Missouri during this winter, and even parts of Kansas, all the way down in Arkansas and some more southern states.
But if the weather is simply too cold for you to enjoy, there are still other ways to engage.
It could be something as simple as hanging new bird feeders right outside your window and getting to see the interaction of birds in that way or other wildlife. There are lots of ways to beat cabin fever, but the big idea is get outside, encourage nature to be more viewing area near your own home and having that opportunity to see what's going on outdoors.
In Joplin, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Short-eared owls are another bird that migrates in the winter and can be spotted in Missouri. Still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
While Christmas might be behind us, that doesn't mean all the holiday entertaining is over with, and we've got just the thing to help you out.
And we are tracking much colder air working into the area. Details in the forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So we got those cloudy skies, we got those gusty winds, but at least one more time, we have some somewhat mild temperatures. A look from this morning, downtown Pittsburgh had just a few clouds to start the day, so not a bad start whatsoever, but it didn't take long for the winds to really start to ramp up across the area, and of course the clouds starting to build in, and a few isolated showers here and there. On to the future track we go. We're going to continue to see the opportunity for some isolated showers, maybe some drizzle here and there, as this low pressure system continues to work just to the north of our area into the afternoon. Now, Now, even briefly, some of us may have some partly to mostly cloudy skies before the clouds thicken back up as we head into the overnight hours and we just go straight up cloudy. Now, again, we'll have no more rain overnight, but it is still going to be windy, and late tonight, very early tomorrow morning, those winds will shift out of the northwest, but they're still going to be gusting 35, maybe 40 miles an hour. Upper 30s, low 40s to start, so fairly similar to today. However, we don't move much. Look at these temperatures. Here we are. That was 5 a.m. This is noon. Some of these temperatures almost haven't changed at all. But as we enter the afternoon, the one nice thing is even though it's going to be breezy and feeling a lot colder, is the clouds will go away. We'll get a little more sunlight in here, but that still will not contribute to any major temperature changes as we go into the low to mid 40s. Now, of course, without any clouds for New Year's Eve, if you're celebrating responsibly, of course, be prepared for cold weather. We're falling back into the 20s as we start 2025. We're have sunny skies, maybe a few clouds here and there, but look at these temperatures by noon. Upper 30s for most of us. We'll eventually make the low 40s and see a few more clouds by Wednesday evening across the area. This is the start of some pretty chilly weather, but this is still going to feel quite nice compared to what we are expecting as we head into next week, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. For the rest of today, though, upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s. West winds gusting 35, maybe 40 miles an hour out there. Mostly cloudy skies and a few isolated showers, maybe some drizzle. Rain showers come to an end this evening. We will be into the upper 30s tonight. West winds gusting still 35, maybe 40, and eventually early tomorrow morning, say 1, 2 a.m., they'll start to shift out of the northwest, but those gusts will not let up. In fact, it'll still be gusty tomorrow, which means it's going to feel even colder as we eventually crawl into the low 40s, but the clouds again will begin to decrease as we head into the afternoon, leaving us with, at least from a visual perspective, a pretty decent day. It's just not going to feel too nice. Now we get into the icing on the cake here. So, chilly weather to start 2025. Not bad Thursday, and I say that because it's going to get a lot worse. Upper 40s, upper 30s by Friday. Then we go into the weekend. Now, we are watching some rain chances Sunday and Monday, but take a look at the low temperatures and even the highs Monday surrounding the rain chances. There is the chance that this could be wintry precipitation. May not be much, but it could be, so we'll keep a close eye on that. But as we head into next week, look at Tuesday night, 15, Wednesday, only 28. That's when that polar vortex comes in, and we are expecting temperatures as we head into next week and the week following to only be into the low 20s for highs, single digits for the lows. We're talking wind chills upwards of 10 to 20 degrees below zero. And even maybe some colder days in between. So it's something we've got to keep a close eye on. We're talking dangerously cold weather, in fact, potentially deadly cold with how cold it could get, especially with those wind chills. So between here and there, just make sure you're prepared at home. Make sure you're ready to go for some extended, very cold Arctic weather as we head into next week. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, today, millions around the country are pausing to remember the life of the nation's 39th president, Jimmy Carter. Now, Carter died yesterday at the age of 100, surrounded by his loved ones at his home in Plains, Georgia. Nicole Videz brings us more.
A nation in mourning as tributes pour in to honor former President Jimmy Carter.
It's a really sad thing. It's a loss. It is a loss.
In Washington, D.C., visitors reflected on Carter's legacy as a man who rose from humble beginnings on a peanut farm in Plains, Georgia, to become a Navy officer, Georgia governor, one-term president, Nobel laureate, and longtime volunteer with Habitat for Humanity.
He was the first president I voted for that won. I think he was someone who tried to do good things for this country.
Flags were lowered to half staff at the White House and the U.S. Capitol. Just outside the city, there was a moment of silence before the Sunday night football game between the Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons. New York's Empire State Building lit up in red, white, and blue.
A makeshift memorial of flowers and messages growing outside the Carter Center here in Atlanta. One note simply read, "We love you, President Carter."
Last night, President Joe Biden called Carter a remarkable leader, humanitarian, and dear friend.
Some look at Jimmy Carter and see a man of a bygone era with honesty and character, faith and humility. It mattered. But I don't believe it's a bygone era. I see a man not only of our times, but for all times.
The Carter Center says public memorial services will also be held in Atlanta all before Carter is laid to rest near his home, next to his beloved wife, Rosalind. Nicole Valdez, CBS News, Atlanta.
Well, stick around. We're making cheesy crab poppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, Howard's making cheesy crab poppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
With New Year's right around the corner and all the football get-togethers coming up, we've created a bite-sized appetizer that's a cross between a cheesy cornbread and the best crab cake you've ever tasted. Sounds incredible, huh? Well, it is. To throw this together, all we have to do is combine a box of corn muffin mix with some panko breadcrumbs, a good amount of shredded cheddar cheese, some cream cheese, butter, a beaten egg, milk, sliced scallions, and a few spices. After this is mixed, we stir in some crab meat. You want to do this gently so the chunks of crab don't break up. Now we roll them so they're about the size of a cocktail meatball and fry them until the outside is golden and the center is cooked through. And in case you're wondering if you can make these ahead of time, you can. Simply reheat them on a cookie sheet in the oven. Maybe serve them up with your favorite dipping sauce and let the party begin. To get the recipe for our cheesy crab poppers, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a get the party started way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, we got that mild day today, cooler as we head into the start of the new year. In fact, colder out there. And maybe a few scattered showers next Sunday and Monday. And again, we're watching for that polar vortex next week that could bring us dangerously cold temperatures with highs only in the 20s. So again, as we mentioned, just make sure you're ready for an extended period of very cold temperatures next week.
And coming up tonight at 5, automatic emergency braking can prevent accidents, and experts say it's working better than it ever has, but it needs to be better. We'll take a look. Plus, we'll hear from some local law enforcement agencies about the dangers of driving under the influence during the New Year's holiday, and remembering former President Jimmy Carter and his impact in the 4 states. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. That's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.